This video is sponsored by you and Living Shad's squadron of 500 goons. Links to support the channel are in the description, along with the Discord. Hello there, Arknights' most hated YouTuber here. Once again reminding you that indeed I like the Chinese mobile game known as Arknights. I was in DMs with Cookie Kaze the other day, you know, just the two of us, super romantic, and he goes, "So you actually really like Arknights genuinely?" Yes? Damn, that's crazy to hear. What do you mean? In any case, I do believe Arknights to be the best gacha game on the market currently, and it's not even close, especially when games like Star Rail keep repeatedly swan diving off a cliff like that one Wolverine comic. Now, sure, there are plenty of reasons why Arknights is still going strong 7 years and like 100 plagiarism controversies later. The story is great, the world building is the best in the genre, the character designs don't look like they were ripped straight from a game you'd find on Nutaku, and the game keeps reinventing itself, with new modes, new ideas, just constantly trying something different, to varying success, but at least it tries, and there is merit in that in itself. All of that definitely helps, but I think there is one bigger, more important and all-encompassing reason why Arknights is still thriving 7 years later. Arknights is a sandbox game. No, really, I'm being fully serious with this statement. To be fair, this is not a new idea. People have been low-key saying this since around year 2. The certified Arknighters have felt it, talked around it, and played like it's true, but no one's ever sat down to unpack why Arknights functions like a sandbox game in its current state. You may think that treating Arknights as a sandbox is something that is only truly accessible as a veteran, once you have settled with good units and can go build something more quirky at night. However, that's not truly the case. Whoa, hold your horses there, SUPAH, calm down. Hello, SUPAH from the future here. I want to specify something about this video. This is not a guide. This video is not telling you how you should be playing Arknights. First of all, because it's contradictory to the entire point of the fucking video if I did that. And second, because the dark truth is that to truly treat Arknights as a sandbox, you need to be kinda good at the game, which is not something that newcomers are. Unless you're a prodigy, you're not gonna have the skill to make use of what I explain in this video. This video is more of a discussion of the nature of Arknights, not a guide. Despite the natural new player urge to ask who are the best units, especially if you come from other gachas, Arknights never truly punishes you for choosing unoptimal goofy goobers. I had one guy in my comment section tell the tale of how they basically bricked their original account years ago by building and investing everything everything into Glaucus, only to find she's quite underwhelming. But really, especially early on, you can get by even with such mid-ass operators as Glaucus. So am I saying this guy had a huge skill issue? Kind of. Of course, as a new player, you won't exactly be familiar enough with the game's systems to immediately make use of Arknights' sandbox properties. But if you, as a veteran, make a new account right now, you will notice it immediately. You can truly use whoever you want out the gate. In fact, as these new players grow more and more familiar with the game, you can see them finding their own playstyle and leaning into the sandbox aspects of Arknights, looking over their experiences that they so kindly document on YouTube. They vary in operator choice, approach and playstyle wildly. So how does Arknights do it? I want to preface the entire rest of this video by saying I don't think Arknights is a sandbox on purpose. It feels more so a consequence of its game design. Being a sandbox happened to Arknights. There's two main reasons. For one, Arknights is made in such a way where the game can present a near unlimited amount of problems by tweaking the enemies, their mechanics, the topography of the stages, the tiles on those stages, and the event mechanics. It allows the developers to keep making shit up, and in turn, keep making up varied solutions to the vast array of problems the game naturally lends itself to. In simpler words, Arknights avoids being a numbers game. Most of the time, anyway. And in turn, this means that way older units, technically power-crept into oblivion, can still see use for the one unique thing they bring to the table, or unique attributes exclusive to them. The second reason is the 12-unit squad system, and truthfully, this is the true game changer. Unlike other gacha games that limit you to 3 or 4 units, Arknights' generous team size gives you room to experiment and get creative, to build around themes or personal preferences, wink wink nudge nudge. Unlike the other waifu casinos, where every single squad slot counts, in Arknights the power of each singular squad slot is very minimal in most circumstances. Most stages can be cleared with just 3 or 4 well-chosen operators. In other words, the optimal strategies leave a lot of the squad empty. In other words, you have an outrageous amount of wiggle room to do whatever it is you want to do. Arknights stages prioritize broad strategic concepts over optimization, as long as you understand the core necessities of that specific stage, like needing a lane holder, or one enemy that needs to be vaporized post-haste. How you fulfill those broad strategies is completely up to you. Okay, yeah, before you bring it up, some events like Portatore dei Velluti basically force-fed you Arturia, but those are edge cases, and even then, as long as you bring Arturia, you can literally randomize the rest of your team and still beat those stages. I feel like the randomizer streams I do really prove my point here. As long as you understand what broad thing the stage wants out of you, or you guarantee Arturia, you can literally randomize your team and still win, even in the most demanding stages. And on the line of Arturia, Arknights is filled to the fucking brim with power creep lately, isn't it? There you go, that's my controversial statement for the video. Think about it, I don't just mean Wis'Adel or Logos. Monstre, Exialter, Lemuen, and Tragodia represent clear cases of power creep in action. They're stronger, more useful, and immensely more versatile than anyone before them. Tragodia lets you bend enemy pathing to your will, and Exialter has more viable niches in just skill tree than the entire 5-star rarity combined. But it's not just them. Ever since Wis'Adel, every new 6-star has been an upgraded version of some operator before them, be it another 6-star or not. And yet, the community is generally fine with it. Of course, a few people will complain, but the general consensus is that these units are okay to exist in the game. Compare to a game like HSR, and the difference in the community's reaction to power creep is quite drastic. So, let's answer one question. Why is power creep bad in the first place? Well, power creep is bad because the game catches up to the power level of the new units. In turn, older units become obsoleted and difficult to use in newer content, and said newer content feels as if it revolves around the new units, effectively punishing the player for not having those new options. To be blunt, this doesn't happen in Arknights. The game is very uninterested in catching up to new operator power level. Yes, the game has gotten harder over time, but nowhere even in the same hemisphere as the new 6-stars. So the new units become tools that you have to consciously include in your squad. What this means is that older operators remain viable. They can still clear modern content with varying amounts of effort, and some of them have unique niches not fulfilled by the new units. So, the elephant in the room. What about Wis'Adel? I think she's cool. I'm sorry, hear me out. A lot of people in the Arknights Mental Institute, disguised as a fandom, will joke that Wis'Adel is an accessibility option. But, yeah, completely unironically, that's what she is. No, I'm not fucking with you. bear with me here. There is no content in the game that requires Wis'Adel, or even any content that suggests Wis'Adel. If you bring Walter, that's because you chose to use her to make things easier on yourself. In a way, she is an easy mode, but one that is entirely opt-in. And honestly, that's a good thing. Dare I go as far as to say maybe Wis'Adel should exist in this game. Accessibility in games is never a bad idea. Having an easy mode is not a bad thing, despite what the Souls-like fans that shower once a week will tell you. Wis'Adel gives newer or less experienced players a way into the game, without taking anything away from those that want to play normally, for a lack of a better word. People say that Wis'Adel made the game worse, but I really don't see how. If you don't want to use her, you can not use her. Arknights is quite possibly the only gacha game where you can skip the best unit in the game and your experience won't be impacted very much. You never truly need Wis'Adel. Unless it's IS difficulty 15, that shit is bullshit. But, you might say, if these units are so broken, why wouldn't you just use Wis'Adel in every single stage? In this environment, there is no reason to ever not use Wis'Adel and the other super meta operators. And that is correct, that's just plain true. Arknights simply does not give you a reason to ever not use the meta all the time. Nothing stops you from getting 12 level 96 stars and annihilating the entire game. But if you do that, you're doing it to yourself. In the same way that Arknights never incentivizes you to not always use the meta, it also doesn't incentivize you to use it. Like everything else in Arknights, like in a sandbox game, it's all ultimately player-driven. You control the buttons you press, as it turns out. If you break the game, that was you doing that because you wanted to. If you play Niche Knights, if you use your waifu in every stage, if you get those dog shit 5 stars from literally the previous video and still win, that's because you wanted to, and because Arknights lends itself to you doing that. Yes, 5 stars are completely, utterly not worth it to ever build in 90% of cases. But you can do it and still thrive if you do so. The game hands you a box of tools and throws you to the wolves. Turns out, the 5 stars are good enough. So, why even make that video? Why even center my whole goddamn channel around the Arknights meta if the entire reason I think Arknights is so great proves that the meta fundamentally doesn't matter in this game? Well, in just the same way that the game allows for niche nights and to make your own fun, I have fun by playing the meta and discussing it. I made my own fun. And that's what the game is all about. And that's all. Max out your Gummy. Bye. Hi, welcome to the outro. Man, this video is gonna make the hardcore and like the elitist community so fucking mad at me, even more than usual, because you know, they're pretty fucking angry at me all the time. Anyway, thank you for watching the video, and thank you to all the channel sponsors on screen right now. In particular, Ichigods, Living Shad, QX10, Boreas, Mr. Lair, That Animal Raptor, Good Old Leon, Seishin, Joseph D, Matthew Nemo, Zephyrinix, Nupo, Lortachio, Lizard King, Nemotic, Nerd Rage, Andre Mula, Mike Reguera, Larmendra, Yvune Sia, Art Jack, The King of Harems, Jigster, Giorgio, That Guy With Two Names, Light Nero, Max Yossess, Kevin McGuire, and Chromochan but JJF. There you go, that's a full minute added to the video's runtime. Isn't that something special, huh?